24 has been a challenging year. I think the high courts, a lot of the high courts are already in a great problem. And many files are still lying with the ministry, which have not even reached the collegium. The most important aspect is the shortage of judges at the high court level. So, 24 has been a challenging year by both the reason of the nature of litigation which has come before the court, as also I feel the most important aspect is the shortage of judges at the high court level, which affects the working of the judiciary. So, that's a challenge which spills over to the next year. So, on the judicial side, there have been various issues which have been raised and which have been brought up. If you see the scheme of the listing of cases, it is largely the constitutional matters which came up, which were pending for a considerable period of time. And starting from the tenure of Justice Uday Lalit onwards, these constitutional matters were taken and constitutional benches constituted to see that the principal role which the courts perform, the Supreme Court performs of a constitutional court, is met with not only the SLPs in the routine matters, but settling law, because that is what applies across the country. So, to my mind, the biggest challenge I feel which has emerged and which I am saying is, how will the high courts work? See, understand that as per a Vidhi report, the Supreme Court grants leave in less than 15% cases, which means that most of the cases are knocked out at the initial stage. 85% of the cases are settled at the high court level. So, the ability of the high courts to control their respective areas and settle law is, to my mind, the most important thing which must take place. Unfortunately, what has happened is that though our strength of judges compared to the population and litigation is as it is low, only about 2/3 of the posts have remained manned for many years. And the appointments have been more or less tallying with the retirements. So, that has remained almost constant. But 2024 is a year where the appointments are only 30 odd, and logically 90 to 100 judges would have retired. So, that's the challenge, because if this continues for another year, I think the high courts, a lot of the high courts are already in a great problem, and more high courts would get into a very serious problem to deal expeditiously with routine matters which come up before them. So, see, the greatest bane of the judiciary is that people challenge it, saying that, we are not getting justice in time. Now, this is a question of volumes. How many cases are pending? How many cases come up, fresh cases come up, and how many judges deal with them? If the judges' strength declines, this problem is going to aggravate. We, as it is, have a considerable amount of the older cases pending. I can give you an illustration of Delhi, where, say, 35 judges are left out of a sanctioned strength of 60. And recommendations or names in pipeline are fairly large. So, the problem which is being faced is that recommendations made are just taking too long to be able to come out of the system. That I think is the main challenge. Timelines have been prescribed by a judgment of the Supreme Court, within which different stages of processing must take place. That's not happening. There was judicial intervention because of that, not an ideal position, but with little choice. And last year saw, this particular year saw no judicial intervention. So, the problem has got further aggravated. We have had even leadership issues, as Chief Justices recommended towards end of December were appointed in July. One of the Chief Justices got a few days before he retired. And now, 2 names already are pending of Chief Justices for months together. Names cleared by the collegium are pending for months together without any response. And many files are still lying with the ministry, which have not even reached the collegium. I think both the government and the judiciary needs to give a serious thought to this. because we can't have a system where the check and balance on the government, which is the judiciary, almost comes to a working standstill at the High Court level. So we have, outside the judiciary, we have managed in a very difficult international arena. If you see the wars around the world, if you see the contradictions and challenges around the world, I think the country as a whole has managed it well in these areas to still provide stability when the world is seeing a lot of instability. And I think that's something creditable.